Hi folks, and welcome to the Finroom channel. I'm in the woods again, and I wanted to show off a work in progress I'm currently making. Actually a prototype for something I want to make on a bigger scale. I don't know if you know the phenomenon that you cannot sleep and your mind's going round and round, and you get that creative impetus and you can't fulfill it. And this is what I had, and I was thinking about the handle design for a slate knife. And I went to the smithy, which I haven't done for ages. Actually, I just wanted to have a look if the forge is still working. And turned out I couldn't light it because I forgot the kindling, and that there was nothing left at the smithy, which I didn't know. So I just thought, well, but you want to try it out, and I had that high-speed steel old saw blade. It was a broken hacksaw blade for a hacksawing machine or what have you. I don't know how it's called. And so I just took the angle grinder and brutally ground out a blade. And this is it. This is the little knife. And I wanted a handle design for precision and but also for really powerful cuts, and also I wanted to have a feedback on the handle where the edge is all of the time, and I need to work on that still, because actually I tested it out blindfolded, and since the blade is symmetrical, you sometimes miss where the edge is. And but I can only recommend, if you are looking for a carving knife or any knife, test out if you can put it in your hand positions you need for carving or what have you, blindfolded, because that way you can really find out whether or not it is working. And I'm not doing any hard carving because it turns out I forgot the piece I wanted to work on, but I got this little guy here, and it still needs some harder cuts and a little bit of shaping. And this is pretty aged hazel, and what this handle is supposed to do is that your little pinky and your ring finger are a little bit shorter, and so you get firmer grip if the end of the handle is a little bit tapered. Also, it's not a good idea to put sort of a cross piece on a carving knife, because it's in the way for techniques like this, where you put the thumb on the blade in order to feel where it's going. And well, steel is a little bit weird, because well, a little bit like D2. Gives a lousy edge but holds it forever. I have not yet managed to get it to the sharpness I want. I need to find out how to make it. Actually, all my fault, really. Also, I honestly think that use a steel that's used for knives also. So and well, you know, this is a high-speed steel which is designed. There is tungsten in it and a lot of big carbides in order to give the heat resistance you need for last chisels, for really high temperatures for drill bits that are used in industry and the like. And it does have a relatively fine grain as compared to D2, because, well, D2 is a stamping steel. It's used for it's used for hydraulic presses, the chisels, and the tools, where you put a lot of pressure on a rather robust edge. And by rather robust, I mean an angle of about, well, up to 90 degrees, and or edges of press tools or something, and so D2 is not designed to work with really fine geometries. It does work, it's not what I'm saying, but it's a tool steel that is designed for industrial tools, not for fine precision cutting tools. But back to the high-speed steel. It's got a really great edge resilience, and it's actually, it works pretty great. And for the application I've been using it for, and especially the wood is pretty dried out and pretty hard, but it's still cutting its way through pretty decently. And given the blade thickness is just what is that, 1.2 millimeters or something, it's also pretty slicey. It's a little bit hurting on the finger if you do this thumb push grip, but the plus side on that is actually you don't need a lot of pressure for it honestly takes some getting used to, because my slurry knives aren't exactly unslicey too, but the thing is, you must actively remind yourself that it doesn't need so much pressure, and it is perfectly possible. That's not what I'm saying. But it's also, you see, it's not doesn't take too much. Too much force to work with, and even though there is this stinky branch hole there, which messes up the grain, and the geometry is good for doing preciser cuts. Let's see if that'll work out too. Well, and it cuts meat too. No harm done. Not a big thing. And putting it aside for a minute. Does it even need some? Taking out my Swiss Army knife, and I recommend this. And don't panic when you get something like this. Well, it doesn't even need already stop bleeding. No big thing, and well, but really, if you start carving, I also recommend that you put the band-aids at the ready. And well, I think I will put this one aside. We'll just, because I think not that good idea to do this while I'm making a video, because I really want to further my carving a little bit with this one. And well, got a funny hairdo, just like myself. And thing is, putting that aside, if you hazel is a really hard wood when it's dried out. Hazel is a great wood when you carve it fresh, because it rarely cracks and rarely develops some issues or something. But when it's dried out, it's a bastard to carve. Not that this it's held up pretty well, and there is the tiniest of a burr developing at the tip, and that was the reason why I just slipped. But what I really can say is the handle is really something I may be sticking to for carving knives, because it really offers you a great purchase. It's a little bit, this is something you normally abstain from, because it has its advantages for if the grain situation is going on, but it's also really difficult to achieve clean cut, and this is what the handle excels at. And also the reverse cut and drilling motion is great, because you can just take this in that way, well, so overall I can say that I will maybe take another steel for making a blade, because it is working. It's working pretty great, but it's I think I also messed up the temper a little bit, because I was a little bit pissed, and I just ground it out any which way. The geometry of the blade is spot on. The thickness, it could be a little bit thicker in the spine because it's not too stiff, and which I like. And also you could have a little bit more, if you had a little bit more thickness to the spine, it would be a little bit more comfortable to put your thumb on. But honestly, for the fact that I just carved it out with just ground it out with well, not exactly lovingly. It still works relatively great, and well, that's I don't know if you can see this. There is a burr at the tip, and it doesn't want to go away, which actually is a bit of a shame. Maybe I can fix that by removing a bit of material. And it's not, well, it's not that it didn't work anymore. It's just, and it's not blunt. It's just the burr. If I use my fingernail to check, I can see there it is not blunted. It's just the burr. Maybe I can strop it on my piece, which sometimes it works. With ATC RV2 you can use a flat piece of wood with a little bit of abrasive compound like flitz paste or polish or something, and you can put the burr back into in the middle, all right. And if I do this, it's not that it didn't work. It's just whining on a high level. But you know, I want to get better. I don't want to lull myself into thinking that I'm already there when I'm not. And the blade shape and the handle design is something I will stick to, I think. And I will. That's not to say that I won't be doing other blade shapes as well. And maybe I will even get myself some 1.2442, which is a tungsten steel, and try to get myself some blades out of that, and send them in for tempering, because these the steel is busted to treat correctly, and there is always the thing with these little blades that it can be really tricky with an open forge to get right. And actually, making carving knives, I can only recommend if you really want to learn how to make knives. And if you think you're already there with your knife making, double check by making carving knives, and be honest to yourself, because carving knives are knives that are pretty much something where you can really see whether or not your tempering or your geometry is there. If you make knives for hunting, or well, they need to be precise too. This is not what I'm saying, don't want to say that hunting knives are for sissies or something. I just want to say that, carving knives, if they further your carving, then it's the carving knife you should get. And if you, the thing is, I honestly do believe that this would also make a pretty decent neck knife for bushcraft, and because it's maybe a slightly longer blade, but I think that this would also do for foraging as well, and pretty decently so, in fact. And because, well, this is something, as you well know, I'm not tiring to rant about, is that most of the stuff you are doing in camp is carving, foraging, and food prep. And if you get a carving knife, if you get a slurd knife, it will work a cinch for food prep too if it has a longer blade. That's the reason why Pukot are so awesome for bushcraft and even overnighters and what have you. And I think we due to there are two things that messed up our perception of knives for the woods and for camping and what have you. I will make a video about a knife, a camp knife, from maybe even the 1920s, and it's a Hubertus, and according to my information, it was repurposed from older blade blanks and from the 20s, and sold in the 50s as a Boy Scout knife. And this Boy Scout knife has a spine thickness of about 2 millimeters. There's a camp scene etched on the blade and what have you, and it has a really flat handle and it's got a flat sheath. And nowadays we would absolutely shun the design, and we would never call this. We would call this a kitchen knife, and would mean it in a demeaning manner. But if you look at catalogs from the 1800s, or at the Green River knives for you guys over the pond, and they were used in a really extreme setting that we nowadays cannot even fathom how hard they were used. The thing is that people back in the day knew pretty much how to use their knives, and what really folded up for all of us is, and I fell for it myself as a kid, first the Rambo craze, and everyone needed this brutish sword of a knife. Then the Bowie craze, and this was a thing for Nesmuk himself already, because he was guiding people into the forest, and they were arriving with brutish Bowie knives or daggers, and half a meter long, and as Nesmuk said, they don't do anything. They are just looking brutal, and they are actually not working that well for camp chores. And not to say that a decent Bowie knife doesn't have a time and a place, and if you make Bowie knife right, with a great balance and an edge geometry that's not too thick, I think a Bowie knife could be a really great addition to your kit and what have you. That's not what I'm saying. And keep in mind, when I'm talking about stuff like this, I always refer to my personal experiences, and I don't want to. That's only my 5 cents. And people love Bowie knives, and I personally I would love to make myself a decent Bowie knife if it weren't just so. Well, I couldn't use it because I couldn't carry it, and I couldn't use it in the woods and would freak people out and what have you. But I think they could be great in a wilderness setting for even for camp chores and not for battening. No, folks. It's just if you get an axe or use a throw. Folks, it's if you're in a survival situation, in a real survival situation. I mean, it's not a survival training or something. Well, maybe the best you could do is start moving, and if you can't, well, you need to wait and what have you. But you need to save energy, and it's not good to waste your energy in such a setting. And if you look at the knives that indigenous people have used for ages, well, look at the loco. This is something that is pretty much used for everything, and typically the originals had a pretty thin spine as compared to what we now have, and maybe that's something, there's one thing, better safe than sorry, and what have you, and a thicker spine if you want to cut down on the heat treatment or anything, is safer. It's you could, as a manufacturer, be a little bit more sloppy with the heat treatment, and offer have some resilience built in for the production line. This is one of the reasons why, e.g., the Mora Companion or the Ontario pilot's knife are not using up the entire spectrum of the hardening potential. The Mora Companion actually pretty decently 56 to 58 HRC, and the pilot's knife just 54, and they have the same steel, or essentially the same steel. On the pilot's knife, it's 1095, which is a steel with carbon content of 0.95% and nothing else. And the Companion has a C100. I think even a CK100. The K stands for really, really clean structure. So there is you need to get a guarantee on the sulfurous and phosphorus content in the steel, which must be below, I think, 0.03% or something. I don't know. I would have to look it up. Maybe you can do that for me. that's not because the steel in itself, if you were really taking your time tempering, and if there that were a blacksmith in his smithy, and he would be forging a knife for you, and he would really take his time to thoroughly anneal the blade before tempering, and maybe even putting it outside in the frost, or in the fridge, or even do a really low temperature treatment with cryogenic and stuff. Then you could be pretty safe at 61 HRC or something. With selective quench or something, you would be pretty safe. And with a custom knife or something, this would perfectly work out. But if you're on a production line, you need to keep in mind that you got no time, because time is money. Just as a by note, well, it isn't. Ask someone like Brian Cox about the concept of time and money, and well, he might laugh his head off. And the thing is, but it would also be a little bit naive to say our society were otherwise. We are a little bit addled in the brain, because science tells us otherwise, and well, it just isn't true what we believe. But it's how it is. A lot of problems are deriving from that, but well, it is enforced that you believe in the bullshit, and so well, so time is money, and if you run a production line and you are in a haste and in a hustle, well, things will happen, and not every guy on the production line is an absolute knife nut. You might find that really weird, but some people who make knives just do this in order to feed their family, which is weird, I know, but and not because they are a little bit mad, but well, that's how it is. And so I've worked in a smithy myself, and your mind's not in the work. You're always doing the same thing all over again, and you do mistakes, and well, and you see, you know, you made a mistake, but you don't want to stop the process because you can't, and hope for the best that it turns out all right, and your boss is calculating with these mistakes anyway. And if you have a pretty resilient steel and don't use up the hardening potential, well, if you just heat treat a knife that could use up to 61 HRC in the edge to just 54, like the Ontario Pilot's knife, well, you're left with a pretty resilient blade. It still does cut a little bit, but it's not a carving knife, by the way. It works a cinch to pry open ammo boxes and maybe even saw off the acrylic on a helicopter or something. The window panes and lever out some doors in an emergency. And, well, if you're sitting beside your helicopter wreck and waiting for the recon to arrive, it will, if you don't if you're careful, it will rather bend on you, even if you abuse it. Than, or so that's the theory at least. And you will still be safe. And this is something what I want to say is, with a carving knife, you immediately realize if you're carving difficult grains, or if you're carving hardwood, or it turns out the difficult grain is more interesting, and especially if you want to carve something like a cook saw or something lovely if you got some birchwood burr or some cherry burr. I'm working on one at the moment, or elm burr is also a favorite of mine, and that's, you will get an immediate feedback on whether or not your knife is working. And what fouled up our perception of knives for the or the concept of knives for the woods is these Rambo movies, or the military mindset and the military survival, and the thing is, if you have to say survival, that's not a good thing, and I'm not tiring to say that, because I have been in a survival situation for some 20 years, and actually I've been in cold black all the time, and it's nothing, it's nothing desirable, and it's, or ask all those homeless people. They are in a survival situation. Ask them how they survive. Pay them a coffee, pay them a meal, and get out there and ask them how they survive. And if you, I think it's a little bit bigot, and I care for, I actually did care for homeless people for a time. And it's a shame that in a rich country like ours, there is a thing like homelessness at all. And the thing is, we get it back to front. It's that serious issue, and it's nothing desirable. It's not. You're not cool if you need to survive, and you either survive or you don't, and that's something. Well, and folks, I'm not trying to cause offense, and I'm not trying to bash anyone, and I don't want. I love the American people. Really, I do. I do. I'm a mountain biker, and I feel every day. I feel really honored that the guys who started that do talk to me and tell me how they meant it and what have you. And that spirit. Well, you got an idea, you just start a shop in your garage and just fire away. Go nuts. It can work out, and if it doesn't work out, just start another idea and just do that. And a lot of people are really multicultural and really like melting pot stuff, and but what really messed up the perception of knives for the woods also is that American weapons mindset. And you don't get that in Germany that much, or you didn't have that in Germany that much. And I actually, there are data for that actually, and if you look at well, in the Third Reich we had that mindset. We had that well, everyone like, or in the First World War where they got these trench daggers and with martial inscriptions like, you know, don't want to repeat that here because it's a little bit difficult. We had that, and it was really shit. And growing up as a German in the 70s and 90s, where there was still something like the honest impetus to finally find out what actually the fuck did happen in the Third Reich. Our perception of knives pretty much centered around a tool aspect or romantic aspect. Like I got that catalog I always showed you from the 50s where well, it was for hunting, it was for, well, a little bit of cosplay for playing, well, cowboy and Indian. I'm really not fond of that because it was a mistake too. It's not that I want to say, well, that's a great example. It also was appropriation of native culture and what have you, and but well, we grew up very fond of that. And you know, there's this lady sitting in a train, and there is this hunting knife in her handbag because it's a traveling knife. And stuff like that, or a carving, or the pocket knife. And I grew up with my father always having a pocket knife on him, and peeling apples and oranges for me, and or carving stuff. On each hike, it was customary for us to carve ourselves a hiking staff from hazel and decorating it on at the first rest, and stuff like that. And I grew up with something like this, and I admit I sorely miss that. It was a better time. It was, and I've checked and double checked whether I'm just getting nostalgic or something, because I don't like nostalgia, because it doesn't get you anywhere. But on the other hand, you know, if you construct a knife exclusively as a weapon and expect it to work as a carving knife, that is not going to happen. And so a carving knife is something that will work in the woods, maybe better than your tactical survival knife, because you can do really delicate tasks. And carving a tent peg with this, or a hook for the pot or something, would take a fraction of the time I would need to use my, well, tactical survival knife. Don't want to bash the poor little thing again. I need to make a video about that, about the knife I'm always referring to, and which is sort of a hyperfixation with me, honestly. But What this is if it if it carves stuff like this, and I'm slowly but surely getting to a point where I would say, well, it starts to look like a sculpture. Ways to go still, but a tent pack isn't that much of a challenge. And if you were going mushroom hunting or foraging for nettles or what have you, it will work a cinch. If you want to strip nettles for fibers, well, use this one. You could use it for stuff like this. And what it won't be great at would be cutting through a loaf of bread or something, or a big sausage or something. But a small sausage, well, it's just the length of the blade. If I were to make a knife that would have a slightly longer blade, maybe a little bit sturdier, a little bit, not that thin. This would also be a really great addition to your bushcraft kit. And not that I would that I want to advertise this knife, because actually, it is crap. It's made from junk, and by the way, Dwayne, it's lilac for the handle again. It was Dwayne, I think. Don't commit. I use lilac for the handle again because it's lying around at the old man's place, not doing anything. Talking of which, I must come to an end. I have talked a lot about this knife. I am pretty stoked, not because this were perfect, but because the handle design works pretty much as intended, and it is pretty great. It actually does further my carving a little bit. It's really precise. The facets on the handle are really aiding with being able to find out where the edge is going, and so this is a journey that started, and I think that's I'm pretty stoked about carving tools at the moment, and because I'm doing a lot of carving, and I have tried to go semi-professional again with carving, and well, it doesn't look like it's turning out, but well, at least I tried. Is what I love about you Americans too, by the way. It's just, and if I hadn't half of that mindset, I would be dead already. And so that's not bashing Americans or for the love of Bowie knives, or for the military mindset or what have you. It's just that I personally do find that it messes up how we perceive knives for the use in the forest, and this would work pretty well in the woods. And also, it wouldn't, because it's a carving knife, it wouldn't freak people out, and it's got to be built in legal reason. No, by the way, not judicial advice, but I honestly think that if you have a carving on you and a carving knife on you, I think not that I would be right. Maybe I can do an interview with a police officer. I'm thinking about that, because it's everything. We are always talking about the people and not with the people, and this is not what I would advocate for living a decent life. So, well, I made this little guy as far as I could with the light at hand, with my knife, and this is certainly not the last knife you will see with a handle like this. Maybe I will I got that idea for something like a bushcraft knife along the lines, and I couldn't light the forge, so no bushcraft knife. So it's getting dark and you can't see me at all anymore, and so the moon's out, by the way, and I will call it quits for now. Thank you for watching, thanks for being here, and apologies if you took offense or something, but I think it's important. It's an important issue, and get out in the woods, enjoy the forest, and stay sane and healthy as usual, and cut yourself something, and don't take it too serious. This is what I want to say with that. Don't fall for the military mindset. It has a time and a place, but not if you want to leisurely go out in the woods and do something for yourself. There's enough fear-mongering going on without you joining the throng. And so that's that. I hope to see you soon, and I wish you all the best. Take good care, and bye.